Hello, everyone. I hope your weekend is going well. I did my disability pamphlet on Down syndrome. It was super fun to find information and some other facts and things that we wouldn't normally just know about Down syndrome. So, Down syndrome occurs when a child is born with a full or partial extra copy of chromosome 21. So, normally we have two chromosomes on each number, and when children have Down syndrome, they have three chromosomes on number 21. It doesn't have to be a full three, it can be two and a half, it can be two and a little bit. Any extra chromosome will have an effect. So, trisomy 21, mosaicism, and translocation are all types of Down syndrome. But trisomy 21 does account for about 95% of all cases of Down syndrome. Um, Translocation accounts for about 4%, and then mosaicism is the extra 1%. So, the only factor that has been directly linked to Down syndrome is maternal age. So, when a mother is over 35, when she's pregnant, there's a higher likelihood of the child having Down syndrome. There's no research that states that any environmental factors or parent activities before or during pregnancy are related to Down syndrome. So the only direct factor is maternal age. Just a couple statistics about Down syndrome. It is the most common chromosomal disorder, and about 1 in every 700 babies will be diagnosed with Down syndrome. And then, like I said, it's more likely to occur with older mothers. So some of the defining features are almond-shaped eyes or eyes that slant more upwards, a flatter face, smaller ears, hands, feet, and fingers, low muscle tone, loose joints, short neck, and then there is some developmental delay as well. Um, with children who have Down syndrome, there are some other health problems that can occur, such as hearing loss, sleep apnea, ear infections, eye infections, and then something that's very common with Down syndrome are heart defects. So, Down syndrome does not occur more often in one race or another. However, there is research that shows that African American babies born with Down syndrome are less likely to survive past infancy. While there is research that shows this, there is nothing that they have found to be the explanation for this. So, they have no real reason, that's how it is. And then children with Down syndrome are oftentimes in an inclusive setting for school, so they may require some modifications, but are generally able to complete the same coursework as gen ed students. They may have an EA with them, they may have modified assignments, things like that, but for the most part, they do complete the same things. As well as these modifications, there are some other early intervention services that are provided through the school. These could be speech language pathology, occupational therapy, physical therapy, and then just some other special instruction within the school. Um, as far as medications, drug therapy is not standard procedure with children who have Down syndrome. They haven't found any medication that is really beneficial. However, some medication may be required for co-occurring disorders. So, like I said before, heart defects are very common in children who have Down syndrome, and something like a heart defect would require medication, but it wouldn't be directly linked to the Down syndrome diagnosis. Some resources for parents and families. Kidshealth.org is really great for children. It answers a lot of questions that children might have and presents information that is easy to understand for children. The National Down Syndrome Society is a great resource for parents. There's tons of information on symptoms and treatments and support groups and things like that. And then the Band of Angels is another website that's great for parents. It's not as technical as the National Down Syndrome Society, but is still full of tons of information. Some resources that aren't just strict websites. So Down with Dat is a blog, um, and it's just a family who shares their experiences and just makes it a little bit more relatable for families. And then Down Syndrome Parenting 101, Must Have Advice for Making Your Life Easier, is a great resource for parents, just to kind of let them know that these things are normal and what kind of tips and tricks work for making your life easier. Circle 21 is a Facebook group where tons of moms and dads and families come together and share their stories and experiences and the same kind of tips and tricks that can make things easier, things that work, things that don't work, good ideas, bad ideas. And then Little Angels Special School has a Pinterest board for Down syndrome, and it has tons of activities and school related ideas and arts and crafts and just all kinds of great ideas to do with your children if they have Down syndrome. So that is all for my pamphlet. I had a great time learning about Down syndrome and writing this pamphlet and just finding out so much more information that I didn't know.